All right, all right. It is about that time, everybody. Let me get everything set up here. Get rid of that. And hello. Hello and namaste, everybody. Happy Saturday Chat Live. I'm so glad you are here again to speak with me. And we'll hang out for a little bit and just kind of see what's up, see how you all are doing. And we will go from there. So, again, I hope everyone is happy and healthy and safe. And I hope those who you love and who love you are also happy, healthy, and safe during these times. We've been in for 2 years now, but I think we're hopefully towards the end of the madness. And a lot of people in my family are affected by Omicron right now, and people I know are. So it's still a tough time. We're not quite there, but I think we're getting there. So it is good to see you all here on January 29th, 2022. And I have good news. Room cam is back. So here's the place where I do my work. So if you haven't seen that before, excuse me, this is where it is. And backed by popular demand, we have Nature Cam. So here in Ohio, where I am at, we've had the really big snowfall, first of the year, really. And it's really, really cold, but it's beautiful, as you can see outside. And yeah, so this is live Nature Cam out my back window, enjoying the little bit of snow we have, and it's just so pretty. I mean, I like snow, but after enough of it, I'm like, okay, I'm done with snow. You know, let's get to spring where it's nice and warm, and get on with it. So I'll switch back and forth to that as we go. All right. So if you are new to the stream, kind of here's how I do my streams. They are mainly just kind of hanging out for the most part. I will answer any questions that you put in the chat, of course, and they don't have to be around statistics or data science, whatever. I'm more than happy to opine on whatever topics you might want to talk about. I try to keep them around 30 minutes, but usually they go longer than 30 minutes. But if they kind of sort of peter out, then I go ahead and end it and let you get on with your day, because you have things to do and I have things to do. So first things first, I want to know everybody, if you're here live in the chat right now, tell me where you are watching from. I love knowing where people are watching from. And yeah, we'll start there. So I'm going to go through the comments and go through the comments, and I'll put those up here in a minute. And then I have a few house cleaning things I want to take care of. So, as I always say, if you are able to, super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. That's how I run the channel. So I don't really do it for the money, but it does have a cost with it. So if you have a couple dollars, even a cup of coffee will get me a couple hours of work in. So I appreciate it if you can. If you can't, I completely understand. But super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. I also have some merchandise on my channel. So actually the shirt I'm wearing is a YouTube, not mine, but so this right here, this is actually merch from a YouTuber, one of my favorite YouTubers, Anton Petrov, who does videos on space and science and things like that. I watch his videos pretty much every day. So I bought his merch to celebrate Anton's amazing channel. So I have some too. If you're interested in merch, it's there. But yeah, plus it's like Anton's shirts are awesome. Look, it says "Hello, wonderful person." I mean, how good is that? That's just awesome. So you all are wonderful. You all are wonderful. All right, I'll turn it off the screen. Let's go back to the chat here. All right, so we have, all right, Getnet. I hope I'm saying that correctly. From Ethiopia. That's awesome. Thank you for coming on to the live stream. It's amazing to have so many amazing, people like you from all over the world, and just really cool to have viewers in Ethiopia and elsewhere in the African continent, and of course Europe, Australia. There's everywhere people. So thank you for stopping by. It's awesome. Okay, so what else we got here? Let's see. Getting us a great educator. Thank you very much. Be heard if you give a live lecture one day on ANOVA. Well, there's plenty of videos on my channel about analysis of variance or ANOVA. So those are sort of on demand. You can watch those as you want, given your own scheduling and things like that. I've thought about doing some sort of live teaching and things like that, but I think it's different. Like being in a classroom with classmates, or even a university sort of setting. Um, I think that's one thing, but I've never really thought about, I never thought that live teaching like that is really, all that beneficial to people. I mean, I may change my mind. Yeah, I may change my mind, but any live teaching, we will see. So plus, I'm kind of old school. I come from the classroom dynamic sort of thing. I loved being in school, and I loved being in a classroom full of people and like everyone asking questions and doing problems on the board and the teachers. So that sort of thing is what I like. And I'm not sure if live teaching online is something that I would be very good at, to be quite honestly. But who knows? It may happen. We don't have a choice after a while. So we shall see. All right, going back to the chat here. What else we got? Again, let me know where if you just hopped into the stream, the numbers are going up. Please let me know where you're watching from. I definitely want to know where you are watching from. I'm here in snowy Ohio, here in the U.S. By the way, so I live near Cincinnati, Ohio, and go Cincinnati Bengals football team. Big game tomorrow, so go Bengals. But it is nice and snowy here where I am at. So let me know where you're from, and we'll get going. So what else we got in the chat? So Arkhan says, do you know something about system dynamics? Not in an academic sense or anything of that nature, but like all topics, I always jot them down when people suggest them. Right there. See, what I do is whenever, you probably can't see this. Let me take this off. So whenever you have a topic that you might want me to do a video on or talk more about at some point, I have this little note card here, and I write down on it so I can go back to my notes. All right. Okay. So where are we at? Sweet. M416 from Turkey. Actually, one of the most interesting natural phenomena I would like to see in my life is actually in Turkey. I'm pretty sure it's like a volcanic white waterfall looking thing, but it's actually not like water. I can't remember what it's called now, but I would love to go to Turkey someday. Obviously, I would love to, just to go see the beautiful cities and things in Turkey. So many places I like to go. Let's see here. All right. Bengaluru, India. Thank you. Rama Krishna. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Again, as I've said before in this channel, everyone deserves to have their name pronounced correctly. And of course, I'm not familiar with certain names, so I do my best. So if I happen to try to say your name and I don't get it quite right, do not take it personally. I'm really trying and really, want to make sure everyone's name is said correctly, but sometimes I get it wrong. So Ramakrishna, thank you. I hope to get to India, of course. As you all know, I've said on this channel before, this channel would not be what it is without all of my supporters and viewers in India. You all are amazing and beautiful and so, talented, and just, the thirst for learning. I can see it in my analytics is really, really strong. So I hope to get there someday and just kind of travel up and down the west coast of India and maybe see some other cities sort of while I'm there, while I'm still relatively young and can walk around. So I hope to get to India someday to thank all of you all for the support you have given me over the past, 9 years. So almost 10 years. So, all right. So thank you for stopping by. I hope to make it there someday. All right. Whoop. What do I do? Here we go. Sanjar, I hope I'm saying that right. Sanjar from Calgary. So thank you for stopping by. Again, as I said before, also, the most beautiful place, well, it's not Calgary. The most beautiful place I think I've probably ever been in is actually Vancouver in British Columbia. So I hope to make it to other cities up in the Great North someday, because I actually like the snow and everything. So I like the colder weather myself. But thanks for coming by. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. All right, let me go back up here to some of the other chats. Again, put your any questions, comments, or chats in the stream wherever you're watching, LinkedIn or YouTube. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm not a human encyclopedia, so I can't answer everything you might ask, but I can write it down and maybe get back to it later, or just answer the best I can, based off what's in my noggin here. All right. So, Venkatesh, hello, my friend. Good evening. It's good evening. It's always interesting when you're all further east from me. It's like evening and night where you all are, and here it's noon. But it's thank you for stopping by on what is your Saturday evening. I appreciate it. All right. What else we got here? Okay, so I'll talk more about sort of what I'm doing on the channel here in a second, but I want to definitely get into some questions, and I'll kind of weave in what I'm doing on the channel as we go. So Arkhan says, how far a curious mindset and Excel take you? They can take you very far. They can, depending on what your end goal is, right? So for a student or any other person who's kind of work in a corporate environment, sort of in a business environment that is more like on a product side or a marketing side or something like that, then Excel is still the primary tool. So a lot of times, financial people or other analytics people will provide reports to product managers or provide reports to marketing managers or whatever else in an Excel format. And then from there, you will need to take your Excel skills and learn how to manipulate it, how to create different views, to create different data visualizations or whatever else it might be. Plus, if you learn Excel, that gets you into the Power BI space potentially, and you can do a bit more there. So a curious mindset in Excel will get you far if that is your sort of path. Now, of course, if you're sort of in a data science or data engineering type path, then Python probably, maybe R, but it tends to be Python nowadays, is going to be sort of the route to go into the more coding environment, building models and pipelines and deploying them and whatever else you're going to do. So it really depends on the path you're going in, whether or not sort of the Excel part would be one path or more of like a Python, whatever else path will be different. Nothing wrong with doing both, of course, but focusing on one first, depending on where you're going is usually the best strategy. But Excel skills are in high demand. There is absolutely no doubt that Excel skills are in high demand, especially given the integration of Excel on the web, the integration of Excel with Power BI, and the ability, actually, the extendability of Excel to actually bring in R and/or Python into the spreadsheet itself. So there are many avenues there to explore. All right, that was a very long answer, but thank you for posting it in there. It's a great question. Come up, keep dropping those questions in. All right, we go down to the chat here. Oh, while I go through the chat, this lets you know. So I'm working on the next video on the channel about the log transformation. I just kind of work on it when I have time, which right now isn't a whole lot because of my day job is very intense right now. Like a lot of companies, we're having some staffing, shortages. So a lot of us are having to do multiple things, which again, is not unique to us. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. So I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm doing like work on the weekends at work. So I'm just doing my best to keep up with everything, but I do have good progress on the log transformation video. It'll be very similar to the square root transformation video I did, a few weeks ago, but it will be coming out sometime, hopefully relatively soon. All right. You all are incredible. All right. Is it Otto or Otto? Thank you for your comment. Just want to let you know I got an A in stats and your videos helped immensely. Many thanks from Tbilisi. Well, thank you for that comment. It is very kind of you to say that. And I'm glad that, the channel was a good resource for you and a good support for you. And what the reality is that you did all the hard work. You did all the hard work. The channels like mine are just there. And like the old saying goes, you can lead a horse to water. So can't make it drink, right? But you came out and you put in the effort. You took the time and, stuck to the grind and just grit and watched the videos, probably maybe took notes and studied and everything. So you got the A. Your hard work got you the A. And your perseverance got you the A. And people like me are just there to help you help yourself. And that's what you did. And congratulations. So awesome. Oh, let's check in with Nature Cam. Oh, yes, it is still snowy and cold. in my backyard. It isn't so pretty. It is just so pretty outside right now. It's like the streets are pretty much clean. It's sunny outside, and you can just kind of enjoy the snow. Oops, snow's falling off the tree. All right, going back here. Back to the chat. Let's see here. One unrelated question. Have you tried options trading? If yes, could you suggest good material? I read a lot of books on options at one point in time, actually kind of during the financial crisis, I think. I got into finance really heavy during that time to understand the madness that was going on during the financial crisis. So I read a lot about options and, of course, other derivatives and things like that. So I kind of know how they work, but I have not personally gotten into them. I'm more of a Warren Buffett type investor. I just, put my investments primarily in just low cost, index type funds, because it's what eats away your returns, what eats away, any money you earn are fees. So transaction fees, broker fees. So I look at things that have very, very low fees and put my whatever money I have, which is not a whole lot, put it in there and just let it grow. So plus when you look at the data on active people trying to beat markets and stuff like that, most of the time, the vast majority of the time, they don't. So that's just my philosophy. But I have, I did do a website once that was like, it was a mock options trading sort of thing, just to see like if I were to do it, would it work? And it wasn't enough to convince me that it's something I want to do on a regular basis. Plus, the thing is, many other people in the investment community know a lot more than I do, and that's not ground to play on. So, I just do the Warren Buffett thing, stick my money in, something long term that will just grow and hopefully don't have a lot of fees, and leave it there. All right. Bomb setup. Maybe, well, thank you. So I did some rearranging over on this side. You can see this is the bookshelf you all see me diving towards all the time, right over there. Camera stuff and everything right there. So that's my setup. But thank you for that comment. All right, what else we got? Ooh, lots of comments coming in. Amazing. Thank you very much from China. Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. So, see, Kieran, what's the difference between a data scientist and data engineer? So one of the things about these fields, as I'm sure a lot of you all know, is that we love to wrangle over terms a lot. And LinkedIn is full of people just making posts about what to call things and what things should be called and shouldn't be called, which doesn't really interest me. My understanding of the difference between these two, so a data engineer is more of a person that goes in to databases, and queries them. Of course, I'm probably speaking in old terms now, but queries them, pulls in the data that is necessary and or creates new features based on existing data, or re-encodes it, or does other stuff like that. And I'm sure it gets much more complex than that when you're dealing with big enterprise, massive data farms. But that's kind of what I kind of see a data engineer sort of doing, like building and constructing like an engineer would. Data scientists can be a lot of different sort of things. They can build certain models. They can build programs and scripts that run. They can build pipelines for data to come in to some sort of model they built and maybe pass it along. So again, my conceptions of what those two terms mean might be off. I fully admit that. So if there's anyone else in the chat that kind of has a better explanation of how to differentiate those sort of two better than I did, please feel free to do so for Kieran, and we can clarify that. All right. So, why is survival analysis less talked about versus machine and deep learning? Do you recommend any good book on survival analysis? So I don't think I have a specific book on survival analysis. There are many statistical books that have survival analysis as a chapter in them. They tend to be a little bit more advanced books that have survival analysis sort of in them. Why is it less talked about? It's hard to say. A lot of things in growing fields like data science, machine learning, and things of that nature, deep learning, there's a flashy sort of element to them, and of course, given the world we live in, where we have so many ways to collect data and analyze it and store it and everything, the machine and deep learning elements are just, they grow so much faster because of the data environment we live in and the need to make, predictions, to do prescriptive type data analytics in real time. So they tend to be the ones that people gravitate towards. Survival analysis is very important, as we found out over the past couple of years. So, and to be quite honest, Venkatesh, is that while I have gone through survival analysis many years ago, even me, it's not something I've really circled back to in my studies and learning. So, and it's something I'm actually interested in, looking at survival analysis. But part of it is just the sizzle in the pan, the flashiness of machine and deep learning sort of right now. I don't see that changing anytime soon. If anything else, is just going to keep growing. So, all right. I'm not going to get to all these questions because you all are coming in fast and furious. All right. Ujwal, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Your lessons are always great and helps a lot. So also requesting to teach structural equation modeling. That's another one that many individuals have requested me to do some videos on. So again, I keep saying this phrase, as I've said before, it's just a matter of time, so I just make videos on YouTube when I have the extra time to do so, because my full-time job does get my full attention. And then I have some other things I do, and it's just a matter of time. But structural equation modeling is something I like to research more and create some, notes on. And whenever I do something like that, I basically write almost a small book of notes, in like a pamphlet almost of notes, and how I would think through it. I draw sketches like how I might do a slide or stuff like that. And it just takes time, to do the type of content that I do. Hopefully that's in a good quality. So I will hopefully get the structural equation modeling at some point. It's just, again, a matter of time. All right. So if you just came into the live stream, people are still popping in. If you haven't already, let me know where you are watching from. I love knowing where everyone is watching from. Makes me so happy when I see people from everywhere. Like I said, if you have a couple bucks, super chats or PayPal tips help the channel. I don't do this for the money, but it does have a cost. And if you can chip in a few bucks, I do appreciate it. All right, back to comments. Some of these I won't be able to get to. So Brian, Stats 101, best series teaching stats. Thank you, my friend. It's very kind of you to say that. I'm glad the channel is helpful. That's why I do it. I don't do it for the money or the fame or the glory. Actually, I like having enough money to live and do the things I want, but I'm not like in it to get rich or anything like that, definitely. And fame and glory, I'm not really into either. I just want to help people. So, I just want to help people. All right, let's see. I wanted to thank you for your videos. I watched them a year ago to help get through stats course, and now I'm 90% through a master's in data. Sanjar, everybody in the chat, here's what I want you to do. Just do a little clap. You can do an emoji or a little clap for Sanjar to be almost done with his master's in data, I guess data science. So congrats. Everybody give him a little clap. I want to celebrate all your successes, whatever they happen to be. If it's in your education and you're almost done with a degree, or you got an A in a class that you were struggling with, or you were able to take your skills and land yourself a better paying job, or at least a job you like more. Those are successes we should celebrate, no matter how small in our lives. And of course help other people too when we can. So congratulations, Sanjar. Very proud of you, and get that last 10%, and we'll all celebrate again. All right. Arif, thank you. Great videos. I learned a lot from your videos. I'm so happy that you learned a lot. That's why I do them. So great job. Let's see here. Ramakrishna, your lectures give different perspective at each topic. Many thanks. You are very welcome. Yeah, it's like I have a certain way of organizing and teaching, and that might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I think it is a way that is understandable, that is not confusing, hopefully, It's clear, and it prepares individuals for what they need to do to get through their class, or to learn something, to get them to learn something more advanced, or whatever else it might be. My way is just a way, right? And there are obviously other channels that have their way of doing things. And I'm not sure about you all, but oftentimes if I'm learning something, I'll watch different videos on that topic, probably like 3 or 4 at least, to get that different perspective, because this person teaches this way, this person kind of teaches it this way, this person kind of this way. They're all good. They're all great. But when you see something from multiple, angles, you get literally a better picture of it. So I'm glad that my video is helpful to you. So thank you. All right. So Ryan, one lecture that would be interesting would be Bayesian Statistics. Yes. So, like many people that grew up learning stats, I grew up learning frequentist statistics, but I also have a background teaching finite mathematics and linear algebra, which a good chunk of deals with probabilities, Bayes' theorem and stuff like that. So I've always wanted to get more into Bayesian statistics. Plus, I think Bayesian statistics is a lot how we think day to day. Like it's how we kind of make decisions in our minds day to day, actually. And I'd like to get more into it. And yeah, again, just a matter of time, Brian. I would love to do it. I've got several books on Bayesian stats. I've taken, several pages of notes on it, how I would structure it and do it. Another challenge with Bayesian statistics is that, at least here in the United States, I'm not sure where it is where you all might be, some of you, the teaching of probability is often skipped over in K-12 education and in university settings a lot of times. So when I was tutoring students at Indiana University in finite mathematics, what I found out is that a lot of the students I was tutoring in finite math, which is a 100 level course, they had had calculus in high school all the way up through AP calculus, many of them, but they had no idea or conception of probability, of counting, of conditional probabilities, probability trees, no idea. So it was kind of a weird situation that you have these individuals who had AP Calc, but couldn't talk about, 2 or 3 level probability trees. So the reason I bring that up, Brian, is that I don't want to assume that individuals even know basic probability, because I'm not sure they, always do. Not to their fault, really, necessarily, just because of the nature of the education system, at least where I'm here in the States. So that's right. Oh, who is this? There we go. How's the nature cam going? Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's so nice. I want to go out and make a snowman or something, maybe. All right. So these days I'm hearing more about R and Python and no more SAS. What do you say on this? That is primarily true, and of course we know why. R and Python are open source and free. So because of those 2 reasons, and of course I will also add that R and Python, in addition to being free and open source, have massive support communities, and they also have a lot of businesses that rely on them. Therefore, they are not completely bulletproof, but they are well maintained, of course. So the future, obviously, if you're going into general data science, the future is Python. If you are going into more academic type settings, then I think R is probably what you'll see a lot of times. But I do think over time, most things are going to gravitate towards Python for the foreseeable future. There's nothing wrong with R at all. It's a great programming language. RStudio is great. It's relatively easy to learn. But Python can just do so many more things, specifically and generally. I kind of think that's where things are going. So, all right. Thank you. You are very, very welcome. So, good. Here's a clarification. Data engineers manage data infrastructure and pipelines. Yes, that's kind of what I was trying to say. And data science is dealing with mathematical part of the business. All right. Yeah, that's that's a good clarification. That's kind of what I was thinking. I probably didn't say it all the best. So, Karen, thank you. Are very welcome. Oh, we got someone else from Richmond Hill, Ontario, Canada. Jonathan, great. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. As I mentioned before, I hope to get up to the Great North. I've been to Canada. Let's see, I've been to Montreal. I've been to Vancouver. I'd love to go to Toronto. I'd love to go to Calgary, Winnipeg. I'd love to just kind of do a whole like west to east or east to west kind of tour of Canada someday. I love it up there. It's beautiful. All right. Let's see here. Will coding tools like Python be replaced with drop-down sort of tools in the future? Do you see that coming soon? Will it be replaced? Totally replaced? I don't think it'll be totally replaced. However, I do think tools will be built that allow for more, like you say, drop-down, drag and drop, node-based, which there are several already, node-based visual programming interfaces that make working with these easier. And these almost are always the well-made ones are running Python underneath them. So what I think might happen, Venkatesh, is that because of these sort of drop-down, easy to use, more user-friendly type interfaces, that it will expand the number of people that will get into them and will use them. So, there's a segment of individuals, it's really hard to teach them coding, like the nuts and bolts and the syntax of coding per se. But if you give them a visual interface where you can set parameters, using a dialog box or something like that, it's much less intimidating for them and can get them into these fields, a much more ease of entry into these sort of fields. So, but I think the hardcore, just strict coding type thing will still exist because obviously the drop down and visual interfaces rely on the former. So hopefully it will expand the number of people. And I would love to see a visual programming interface that will, almost not be as easy to use as something like Excel or something on that, something like that. So, but I think we're there. Plus there'll be auto ML. There's gonna be a lot of automated, type software, and which I guess there already is, but that will continue to evolve. Sort of automated software with these things, which will again broaden the accessibility of it to more people. Let's see here. All right, Arnold. See, you're in Cincinnati. Will you be watching the game this weekend? Absolutely. You have no idea. Last weekend, I've blown my voice out the past couple of weekends watching our Cincinnati Bengals win 2 playoff games. So, yes, I will be watching the game tomorrow. Absolutely, I will be. Okay. Dwipayan? Hope I'm saying that correctly. Apologize if I'm not. Is there any online MTech degree that offers university for working professionals? So you might want to clarify what you mean by MTech. It's probably something very simple, but I'm not registering what MTech means. So let's go back. Offers university working professionals. Many universities now, especially graduate type programs, have programs that are geared towards working professionals, which might mean classes, scheduled in the evenings and the weekends. So, people who work a day job can also take classes. So I know actually at Cengage, where I work, my day job, my manager is currently doing a master's degree. I think it's Boston University. Could be wrong. I think that's it. So my manager is working on a master's degree, but also has a family and children and things like that. So those programs do exist. A lot of them are online, of course, but even locally here where I live, there are master's programs when things get back to normal that are geared more towards working professionals, and they have different class times. And sometimes the programs might be extended a little bit, be a little bit longer, so you're not taking so many classes at one time. But there are programs for for everyone, for every type of situation. I would just encourage you and everyone else who's looking to maybe do that to really do your research, look into the program, look into its placement rates, its faculty, how its reputation is before you commit to doing the time and the money that would take to do that program. So, all right. Here's a question. Can you briefly explain how to calculate population mean and population standard deviation in the real world? For example, the height of all people in the USA. So, technically speaking, a population means every data point. So, theoretically speaking, you'd have to measure the height of every person in the United States to do the population mean and standard deviation. Of course, we can't do that, which is largely why statistics was invented. So the whole point, the basic premise in statistics is that we can take a sample, a random sample of a sufficient size, and that random sample of sufficient size will get us pretty close, if not spot on, to the overall population mean. So it allows us to make inferences, it allows us to make predictions and things like that with smaller data sets. That is the fundamental thing underlying introductory statistics. So we have population parameters and we would have sample statistics. So theoretically, to get a population, however you define the population, you have to have every person or every measurement or whatever else it might be in that population to call it a population. But I could say the population of the state of Ohio. I could say the population of the city of Cincinnati. So the population can be defined however you want, but theoretically it means every person in that population. So, but because of statistics, we don't have to do that. As long as we use proper sampling technique that's truly random and, for all elements of the population, we can get pretty close with just a relatively small sample when you're taking into account the entire population. All right. Okay. What do we got here? One last query. Can you please recommend any good book or resource for a business analyst role? So, there we go. Yeah. So, we're back to the book portion of our live stream. So, I'll always say disclaimer. As many of you know, some of you might know, my day job is working for Cengage Learning, which is a higher education company here in the United States. And one of the books we make, our team makes, is this book, which is Business Analytics. So this is a fantastic book. I'm not just saying that because I'm on the team that helps develop it. I'm saying that because it's a good book. So that's the 4th edition I was holding up. So you can probably find the 3rd somewhere. If you're looking for a book that is more like has a more, it's a textbook type feel, right? So it's very pedagogically sound and kind of walks you through everything step by step and clarifies everything step by step. That's a good book to find. I'm sure you can find the 3rd edition used somewhere. And then I do have other books. I have other books, and I actually have some ebooks, but they're on my Kindle, and I don't have access to them. So, there are many good books regarding business analytics, and I'm sure individuals in the chat will have some suggestions too. But this is the one obviously I work on and I know, but there are others depending on what kind of flavor you want. Like this is more of a textbook type thing, and then there are more business analytics type books. They're kind of more trade publication type. But if you just do some searching around, whether it's on Amazon or in LinkedIn groups or whatever else, they can give you some recommendations too. I have so many, but they're over here on this this shelf over here, I have all kinds of books, like in these two shelves, and I have more upstairs, and I have more in my iPad Kindle. So, but I don't have it with me. I'm not sure where it's at. How's nature doing? Oh, nature is still looking good. Still, oh, it's so pretty. All right. What else we got here? Get to the chat here. Larry, what's up, buddy? So you're doing some amazing R stuff. So those of you who don't know, Larry has been a long viewer of the channel and was a guest on the live stream at one time. And he's doing some great work. He does some, consulting and things for business, and he's doing some R stuff as well. You can check him out on LinkedIn. And he asks, what do you do after the chi-square test? Asking for a friend. Well, you check to see if the chi-square test is significant. It depends on the implementation that you're sort of getting at. But of course, if the chi-square test is significant, then your observed is different. It's different than the expected if you're doing counts. And you would just conclude that what you observed is different than what you expected in terms of counts, if that's what kind of test you're doing. Larry, if you have a specific question or implementation that you're kind of working on, just ping me on LinkedIn and I can maybe expound a bit further. The chi-square test, or the chi-square distribution, is used for all kinds of different implementations. It doesn't have to be exactly for the chi-square test specifically. So it can appear in other situations. So just message me on LinkedIn or something, and maybe I can clarify further. It's hard to do these things in real time, as I'm sure you know yourself. So, all right, we are trucking along. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. I love coffee. By the way, if I ever get to travel again, any of us get to travel again, and I do come to where you might be overseas, wherever it is, you got to take me to the best coffee place. All right. I want to have the best coffee wherever you happen to be. All right. Currently studying for my CFA level 2. Videos are a great help. Well, you're very welcome. Niramak, hope I'm saying that correctly. I love your visual, your emoji there. What we call that? Avatar. I love your avatar there. Pretty cool. So you're very welcome. I'm glad to be of help. Go Bengals. I live in Cincinnati. That's right. Arif, where are you at in Cincinnati, my friend? Let me know. I'm curious. You don't have to, of course. I mean, it's a personal thing, but I'm curious where you are in the great Queen City. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for the super sticker, Ramakrishna. I really do appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you. Again, it does help the channel, and I really, really, really do appreciate your super chat. Like I said, I do accept super chats and PayPal tips to help with the costs that are associated with the channel, including the streaming software and this camera that you're looking at. So it helps. All right. All right. Nasrullah from India. Excellent. Your content is amazing. Learning a great deal from it. Truly a display of hard work and smart work. Well, thank you very much. It pales in comparison to the hard work you are doing, but I'm glad to be a resource to help you along your journey so you can capitalize on your hard work. And that is, that's what it's all about. All right. So you are very welcome, fellow Cincinnatian. Larry, you are welcome, my friend, as always. Longtime subscriber. Are visualization tools like Tableau, Power BI needed on a resume if someone knows R or Python? Well, again, it depends. What types of jobs are you applying for? It definitely doesn't hurt, right? I think probably the most important thing when you get into these sorts of questions is which ones are you able to demonstrate right off the bat? So obviously, if you go into a technical role, they're going to give you probably, almost certainly, they're going to ask you technical questions, if not give you a technical test, that you have to get through to get that technical position. Other ones for like Tableau and Power BI, you can actually create do Tableau Public and Power BI, I think too. You can create a gallery of visualizations you've made. You can actually show a potential employer, hey, look what I did. And here it is. And you can walk them through it and explain it. So it really just depends on your ultimate goal, the jobs you're applying for. And I know individuals, me included, that have resumes that are different for a different type of role. So if you're going towards more a role that is about visualization and, business, analytics or whatever it might be, then maybe it's the Tableau Power BI stuff you want to put forward. If it's definitely more of a data science sort of coding type role, then you want to put the R Python type forward. So it just depends, right? It just depends. So, but there's no harm in learning both. It just may be tailoring the resume for the position you're applying for, and then actually having artifacts or a portfolio or a website or something you can show that demonstrates what you can do with it. Like in my case, my portfolio is my YouTube channel, right? So I can say, look here, and people can see what I spent the past almost 10 years building. And YouTube is my portfolio for my ability to hopefully be a decent teacher. So that's what I would say. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, Larry, I'll see you on LinkedIn, my friend. Let's see here. How to enroll. Do I pie in? How to enroll for executive Master of Science degree university and do the classes online from India and give regular degree, but my parents are not allowing to go abroad. I can't leave a job. Let's see. Didn't find. There's another half to this. Let's see. I enroll degree classes online from India and give regular degree, but my parents not allowing me to go abroad. I can't leave job, but I didn't find. I think some of that might have gotten cut off. So recently got an offer from Liverpool State University for MS by giving GRE, but I don't want to leave job. Any alternative to stay in India and get regular for university degree? What other gets? So I think some of that might have got cut off in the length of that. It's hard for me to say. Obviously, I am not in India, and I don't know the internal dynamics of higher education. And I'm learning more just in passing, but first, are there any programs domestically that might be a good fit? And then beyond that, obviously online degrees. And then regardless of where, domestic or overseas from where you are, is finding the program that's really built towards individuals who do work full time, and they absolutely positively exist. One of the best, we have one of the best, one of the great analytics program right here in Cincinnati at the University of Cincinnati. And actually, the authors that write this book right here, some of them are either current or former professors at the University of Cincinnati, down the street from me. So those programs do exist. It's just a matter of finding the one that meets your specific situation. And that can be either domestically, in the country you're in, or overseas, in whatever program. There's no real easy answer to that. It's just doing a bit of research, asking around. If you're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn groups are great to ask these types of questions. So you can join certain groups on LinkedIn and then post a question to that sort of group, and you'll get plenty of responses, I'm sure. And just finding the one that's the best fit for you. So, all right. Oh, Nirmak, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Hey, here's what I'll get across in terms of the last thing I'm going to say about money. $5 is equivalent to basically 5 minutes of professional captions on a video. Think how much good that does. Okay? So there are many individuals who are watching my videos from outside the United States who maybe English is not their first language, therefore they watch with captions so they can hear and see the words at the same time. There are many individuals who watch in environments where they can't have the sound necessarily on, so they watch the captions. So even something like $5 can get most of a video captioned. That's the value in little donations like that. So I'm not saying little to minimize it at all. It's a little bit can go a long way when you're doing a channel like mine. So I appreciate it very much. So Niramak, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. All right, let me go back up here. You all are busy today. I love it. I love it. How are we doing? Some peace and quiet? Oh, yeah, it's so pretty. Okay. Very impressed with your clarity of thoughts and smart explanations. Well, thank you. Do you have any video series or recommended anything for machine learning and data science? So, Sagar, thank you for posting that question. I do get this question a lot. So I do not specifically have anything on machine learning in particular, at least yet. The main reason for that is that there's already so much out there already that for me to add to that sort of body of work that's already out there is I'm not sure if I would really add anything to that. And my goal has always been to help people with the basics so that they can prepare themselves to go into sort of more advanced type things. So I would love to do that, and maybe someday I plan on sort of doing that. But as of right now, and I already know what I would do. I just need like 36 hours in a day to get it all done, or I need to be able to make a living doing videos full time, which is not the case. My YouTube earnings for the past 28 days would barely feed me. That's what life is like on YouTube. So so if I have time and I can get the resources, I definitely would think about doing that. All right. Let's see. What's my opinion on the PMI, PBA certification and IBA, BAP certification? Unfortunately, I do not know those acronyms. So maybe you can expand upon those. So I probably won't have a very good opinion on this question because if I knew what those acronyms meant, that's kind of a prerequisite for having an opinion on them. So I don't have those certifications, or maybe not familiar. Unfortunately, it's one of those questions. Unfortunately, I'm not able to answer, at least at this point. All right, Prophet the editor. Hello, Brandon. I'm from India, and your videos have really helped me in my data science subject in college. Your videos really cleared my doubts. Excellent. That's what they're for. I appreciate that, but you did all the hard work. I am just there to be a resource. All right, Arif. I'm in Mason. Good. That means you're like a mile from me. Mason starts at the end of my street, so that's pretty cool. All right. Did that. All right. Makes sense. Horses for courses stuff. Okay. Not sure about that. Where we're at. Okay. So a web developer produces a website using this analogy. Is fair to say a statistician typically produces statistical reports. Sometimes. So what are the best resources showing how to do reports for non-statisticians? This is actually a very good question. A very good question. So, what statisticians can do many things. Okay. So, statisticians can actually obviously collect and analyze data, but they can also build models that ingest data, and the model is relatively stable, and it can take in whatever data is fed into it. So it's more of a process. it's more of a process type thing. So what I've seen people do, especially the people work in R, I guess in Python will work too, they will create an R project. They'll do the whole thing in R Markdown. And of course, they'll have their R script. They'll have their data in there. And they can put it together as a package and kind of walk through. And I also recommend, if you're doing something like that, to put a lot of comments in the code of like what everything is doing. But I think what people want to see is the full implementation of skills that are then presented to some sort of stakeholder. So taking the data and ingesting it and doing the analysis, getting spits out numbers and all that kind of stuff is only half the battle. The other half is explaining why the hell that even matters. It's explaining to some end user or some stakeholder why this analysis is meaningful, and then what it means for their particular sort of role, but also what it means like in a prescriptive type way. Like, is there a plan of action or recommendation based on this analysis? So statistical analysis is just part of an overall communication artifact or presentation, whatever else, that uses the data to tell that story, to make that prescriptive recommendation, to say, hey, I got some data here and I analyzed it, and based off my analysis, you're doing A, but if we did B, this would save you $1 million. See, that's what people want to hear. Only doing the analysis is really only the first half of the process. It's explaining the value of it, to making a prescriptive recommendation after you've done it. That's where the sort of the real value is, and that requires, in this case, business thinking. So I've always said that learning how to code and learning how to do the analysis is only a part of the battle. It's very important to, especially read books, maybe watch movies or whatever else, but namely read business books about historical or real world events. And I don't think I have one handy somewhere. So I tend to read a lot of business books, like one thing at the top of my head, like Too Big to Fail, right? So the book Too Big to Fail is about the financial industry and why it collapsed and stuff like that. So read discipline books around whatever area you're in. Then you take in this case, your statistical analysis and the report, and you marry it with the business domain knowledge, boom. And that's the value. That's where the value is. And that's what makes you a valuable potential employee, a valuable current employee, and it allows you to really put forth your value to the company, right? So, and actually, as a statistician, you can produce a website too, But this is a very good question. I think people sometimes de-emphasize or don't think about the second half of this equation, where doing the analysis and reports is just the first part, but it's also, then what? Then what do I do with it? So yeah, so that is that's what I would recommend there. All right. Okay. We're already over an hour. You all are rocking. So how can we get internship in the United States if we belong to Tier 3 college? So you might need to let me know what a Tier 3 college is, where sort of you are. I know different countries and institutions have these these sort of hierarchy of institutions. But how to get an internship in the United States, I will say that is sort of beyond my personal pay grade. One thing that you can do, I would recommend maybe in general, is build relationships, follow a company. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn and just ask them. If you want to work for a specific company and get like an internship with a specific company or companies, just ask. Just ask them. It's to say, and just keep it brief, like this. You say, "Hi, my name is Atul, and I am here, and I'm interested in applying for an internship with your company in the United States. What do you recommend I do, or could you point me in the direction of something I can look at?" Just ask, you know. Um, Plus, right now with COVID and international relations sometimes being strained, it can be hard to navigate that. But usually, the best thing to do is go to the source and ask. Is sort of what I would do. And if nothing comes of it, at least you've learned. You have a contact at that sort of company, and that in the future that may pay off in ways that you have no idea now that it might. So, all right, okay. Nikhil, your videos are awesome. Thank you so much. It's very, very kind of you. Oh, thanks again, my friend. Niramak, I really appreciate it. I already took a lot from you for free. You didn't take anything from me. You can't take a gift. So being able to teach individuals like you and help people like you and other people in the stream and on the channel, is invaluable to me. It's hard to put a dollar amount on what that means to me. So you didn't take anything from me for free, but I'm glad it benefited you. And thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate it very much. And Arif, thank you, my friend, for that. I really appreciate it. So kind of you all that are helping out with the super chats and things of that nature. It really does help. I try not to ask for things from anybody. I try to let's get by with the best I can, but it does help. So, all right. Let's see here. Woo, this is going fast. Yeah. So, can Bayes theorem some kind of predictive analytics in huge set of data? I'm not quite sure of the question, but if you're saying can we use Bayes theorem in some sort of predictive analysis and huge set of data? Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. It's called sports betting. That's what it's called. All right. Yeah. So I know that PMI stands for Project Management Institute, but I know PMI is a huge thing. I do see a lot of people that do project management have the PMI certification. That seems to be the one I see the most. And actually, my team at Cengage, we do work on a project management book. I can't reach it right now. Maybe I can. I'm not sure where it's at. So, but yeah, we do have a project management book, and that's one I sort of see as the PMI certification. So basically, in general, if a lot of people are doing something like a certain certification and everyone you see in that field has a certification, then that's the one you want to do. All right. So I can't do all this right now, but a summarized flowchart for developing a statistical model, like from analyzing data, identifying multicollinearity, regression analysis, and then predicting an outcome. I can't go through all of this like on a live stream, but honestly, the very first thing to do in anything is to think about the problem. Think about the question. What question are you trying to answer? That is the most important step, is framing the problem and what you hope answering it will provide. Then, based on the problem or the statement that you're trying to solve, then you go out and think about what data do I need to answer that problem? What kind of data do I need to collect? Does it exist? Do I have to get it myself? Then you find whatever data that is. Then I would say you think about collecting that data in ways, or engineering that data in ways that are easy to manipulate and easy to interpret and easy to work with. Then you have your data, but then what do you hope to do at the end? Do you hope to are you just doing descriptive, type analysis? Are you doing like predictive type analysis where you have a certain number of inputs, into a model and it spits out an output at the end? That sort of prediction, if that's what you're trying to do, then that will require one type of model. Are you trying to do classification That will be another type of model. So it really depends on the question you're asking, but that's where you should start. And then, once you do your analysis, it's important to be able to communicate that to the end user, like I said before. So I would really get into the habit of, after doing an analysis, is writing up this one page, maybe not even a full page, like a couple paragraphs of restating the process and restating the interpretation and analysis. Another great way to do this, Sagar, is to read, I'm sure you do, but reading research papers that walk through that sort of process, flipping through dissertations or other type of academic type material that goes through this entire process, stating the problem. Another thing to do is, has something similar been done somewhere else? So that's, in academia, we call that, the review, right? The literature review. So what else has been going on in my discipline around this topic? And I'm just kind of getting a seat at the table with these other voices. So figuring that out. The data analysis part of all of this is usually the fastest part. I mean, just you click a few buttons or type a few lines of code and it goes and it spits it out. Communicating it is the valuable part. Okay. All right. A few more minutes because we are going longer than I thought. Bayes theorem. Yes, I already mentioned that before. I would love to do some Bayesian statistics. I'd also like to do some just good old-fashioned finite mathematics in terms of probability and Bayes theorem and things like that. So, all right, someday I really hope to. I would love to sit and make videos for you all day, every day, but then I would I'd live in my car or something. I don't know. It wouldn't work. Okay. How to revise statistics in a short span of time. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by revise statistics in a short span of time. Ayush, I apologize. Maybe you can elaborate exactly what you mean by that, or give me an example of, when you might need to do that and for what reasons, and maybe I can chime in a bit more. There are many models you can build that are live. So if you change the underlying data or give the model new data, it will calculate sort of in real time. That's always possible, of course. Excuse me. Let's see here. Whoa. Ah, that makes sense. See? In England, revise is our study for a test. Thank you, Wesley. So revise statistics. So just to study for a test. Well, in a short amount of time, I think the best thing to do is obviously figure out as much as you can about what's going to be on that test or exam. That's always the first step. And believe me, how many students don't even do that? It's like they just go blind. I'm not saying you are at all, but figure out what's on the test and then figure out what's going to be emphasized on that sort of test, and then focus your efforts on what you think that's going to be. Of course, the best way to not have to do that is to just learn over time and let it sink in over time and not try to cram. Cramming does not work. It's good for a quick review at the end, but it's not going to learn anything. So study for a test, figure out what's the most important. And I always recommend students to pick one or two problems or questions that might be on that test that are sort of prototypical of what they're going to see, and just run, practice them, one or two. And of course, if you get something wrong while you're practicing, reflect on why you got it wrong and then correct yourself. That is extremely valuable. So there are, how to study and, for tests is a whole another topic in and of itself. But, the best thing to do is just to not get in a position to where you have to cram at the end. But if you are pressed for time at the end, then just learn what the most important things are, practice those. If you practice and make mistakes, figure out what the mistakes are. And then the last thing I could recommend is restate what you're doing in plain language. And that helps it sink in to your mind. Also, like in university settings, you can often, on the university website, believe it or not, you can actually find old tests, or study tests. So when I was tutoring finite mathematics, all the instructors over time that had taught finite math, like usually on their faculty page website, they would put old tests, from several years ago up on their website, or they would distribute them to students to use as a study guide. Because what that was doing was providing students not the questions, but saying, hey, there will be questions like these on the test. So in the tutoring sessions I would lead, what we would do is maybe not work every problem, but if there was a problem on the study test, on the practice test, that was the same kind, we would kind of like walk through one together, and then I would have the person I was teaching try to work the second one on their own without any help, and then we would see how that would go. So there are many, many ways to study for tests, but just figuring out the best one that works for you. So, all right. How binomial distribution helped me to build good machine learning model. So that was the overlap between statistics and machine learning is not one-to-one. There are many things in statistics that are not as applicable to machine learning, and sort of vice versa. So the binomial distribution, I think where that can help is in how the features are engineered potentially. So you can use the binomial distribution to sort of discretize, I love that word, variables potentially. It depends on the sort of circumstance. I'm not saying not knowing it. I'm not saying knowing it is a waste of time, because it's not, of course. But it really depends on the application and the sort of circumstance that you are wanting to employ a binomial distribution in a machine learning model, which most machine learning models are fundamentally based on a different idea underneath the numbers. It's great to know, especially when working with features. I think knowing statistics and things like that is really helpful when working with features up front. But then, of course, there are statistical algorithms in machine learning, so linear regression, logistic regression, and things of that sort of nature. But there's a big kind of donut hole in the middle where things like confidence intervals and hypothesis tests and stuff really don't, at least I've never applied those to like a machine learning type situation. All right. So, I think I've kind of gotten to the end of the comments. I'll go back up here to see. I don't see any more. All right, so we've gone for an hour and 15 minutes. I want to give you back the rest of your day and time. I know you have things to do, and some of you, it's night where you are, so Saturday night. So go do something fun or relax or whatever you're going to do. And I'm going to sit here and not go anywhere because it's cold and snowy here. As you can see, it is very cold and snowy where I am at. But I'm going to sit here down in my little area here and do some things I have planned, because tomorrow's football day, American football day. But anyway, I want to thank all of you. This has been a great stream. One of the best streams I can remember in a long time. So I do want to thank you all so much for coming by the stream and spending some of your valuable time with me. And I will see you again in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from today will be the next live stream. And until then, I wish you all health and happiness in whatever you're doing. And I will see you then. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.